Welcome back to Real Dog Radio. Real Dog is part of the CBS Sports Digital and 247 Sports Network. Share the show with all your Husky family and friends. You can find it at realdog.com. We're also on iTunes and on SoundCloud. Of course, I'm Tyson Allenbaugh, and with me are Ruth Robbins and Mike Martin. But I'm burying the lead here, folks. Joining us now on the 206 LED.com dog line is former Washington Husky defensive line coach Randy Hart. Now, this is an impressive bio, so bear with me. Coach Hart was a player on Ohio State's 1968 national championship team, the defensive line coach for the Washington Huskies when they won the title in 1991, and also a maker of men. For 46 years in Columbus, Ohio, Tampa, Florida, Palo Alto, California, South Bend, Indiana, and, of course, Seattle, Washington. 20 years, in fact, players heard heads up, butts down, or pin your ears back and run like the devil, or Mike's personal favorite, play like a pack of scolded dogs. Coach Hart, I thank you for joining us on Real Dog Radio.
No problem. Nice and good. It's good to be here, and certainly glad to be a part of the show.
Oh, we really appreciate it. Recently, we had Mike Iwaliko and Jordan Reffett on. They had nothing but praise for you for helping turn them into the men that they are today. Now, you didn't really have a catchy slogan like Peterson or a branded slogan like Peterson's Built for Life, but really they do credit you with building them for life. What was your, Built for Life strategy with your kids?
Just work hard, and again, they came to the University of Washington. They kind of built themselves, okay? we all have it in us, and it was just a matter of bringing it out, and that's all we tried to do. It was consistent with the head coach's philosophy. Each head coach that I worked with had a basic philosophy of hard work, and when we were good, we worked hard. So there was no secret. There was no, nothing unique or out of the ordinary. It was just try to teach them how to work hard and believe in themselves, and good things usually happen.
Now, another one of your former Husky players, Aikikai Malloy, is the Washington defensive line coach, rather. What do you see in him? Does he remind you of yourself? Does he seek you out for advice? I guess it's kind of a two-part question there. What's your relationship with him? What do you see from him as the D-line coach?
Oh, it's great, obviously. I remember, he played for us as a safety, a great football player, tough guy. He's who you want to coach. He's a guy you want to coach, and certainly he emulates that same style as a coach as well as a player. I mean, he's all in. He's doing a great job, obviously, and truth be known, he's doing a better job than I did most of the time, I guarantee you. So I'm really proud to watch him grow. But again, he's a guy that went out and wants to coach. I mean, he's coached several positions on the defensive side. He's coordinated on defense. He's paid the price by working at a lot of other universities to where now he's making good on his goal of coming to the University of Washington and being the defensive line coach, which I couldn't be happier for him. And I'm really proud of the way the guys play. And as a result, it's really fun to watch him work.
Absolutely. And speaking of that defense, which Aikikai coached last year, gave up 17.5 points a game, which is pretty good in the modern era. But back in 1991, the Husky D with you and Coach Lambright gave up 9.8 points per game. Is there sort of I have a second part to this question. Is that sort of a fair conversion nowadays with the modern offenses and the rules being favored to the offense? Is that about comparable, do you think, 17 to 9.8?
You know what? I don't have the intelligence to figure that one out. I know it's good. It's good defense, and as long as you score, your offense is scoring more than your defense. It's still a team game. As long as your offense can score more than your defense, you're going to win a lot of games, and that's the ultimate goal. So, whatever's the accepted. I watch some of these arena ball teams, and if you stop an offensive team one time in arena ball, you win. With the 54, 56 games and all that kind of thing. So, you want to play great defense. Certainly, you wouldn't have a job too long if you gave up that many points. But it's still a team game, and as a result, we're proud of the heck of the guys when they do limit them. But I'd say it's probably a fair conversion right now, knowing the power of the offense, the spreading of the field, and certainly the ability of the offensive quarterbacks and wide receivers. They throw the ball, doggone near 12 months a year now. They've really, teams have really gotten better at what they're doing throwing the football. So defensively, we've got to try and catch up. And when you hold people 17 points, I would say your offense is controlling the ball and your defense is getting off the field, which is obviously our greatest goal.
Yeah, and when you were at Stanford most recently, you guys had a pretty decent success facing in the Pac-12, which is obviously fairly spread heavy. And how did you, I guess, for lack of a better word, solve the spread, whether it's Oregon or Arizona? And I know and even Arizona State, and I know they have their own little twists on it, including UCLA. What were you guys doing that helped you be so successful against that type of offense?
Well, like most of I think it's a lot of times the X's and the O's, but certainly it's the guys executing those X's and O's. And certainly when you have talented players that play hard, believe in each other, and work to win with each other, it's still a team game. And as a result, I would have to tell you the number one ingredient there is effort. And I love to watch the Huskies play right now because of that effort that Coach K gets out of them. And they're doing a great job. They're playing as a team, and as a result, the results are good. So it's been fun to watch, and certainly looking forward to the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to go way. Sorry for going ping-ponging all over the place. We're going to take a step in the Wayback Machine. Go back to that Rose Bowl in 1992 against those dreaded Michigan Wolverines. Michigan's coach, Gary Moeller, had his headset pushed off to one side with the look of disbelief on his face after Steve Atman, destroyed 3 offensive linemen and the quarterback for a sack. At what point did you know he was a once-in-a-lifetime generation, whatever it may be, that you had been around, and talk about his impact, whether it was on the field, off the field, play to play? Just what was it like to coach Steve Atman?
Well, it's a tremendous honor, and as a result, I mean, he was like a lot of the guys on that team. First off, they liked the locker room was very, very healthy, which I'm seeing out of the Huskies right now. When your locker room is healthy, you play for each other, and the sky's the limit. And that's what those guys liked each other. They liked working with each other. And although Steve was the most vocal, or one of the more vocal leaders, certainly there were other guys in the locker room that were right on the same page as he was, and as a result, we played together as a team. The one thing with Steve that made him special, and the guy that I've told every guy that I've coached since then, his goal setting. He wanted to play a perfect game. Steve's motivation was he wanted to play a game where he could be a part of every tackle in the game. Now, I didn't have the guts to tell him that you can't do that. Okay, so he would ask the defensive backs. He'd ask Dana Hall and some of those guys, and Walter Bailey and the guys in the back end, to hold the receiver up. I'll get there. And of course, he probably helped himself most as a professional prospect. When he at Nebraska, he wound up playing made the play on the dive back. Okay, he didn't have the ball. He turned and ran to the quarterback, and he didn't have the ball and kept on going and ran the running back out of bounds. You don't see that kind of effort, and as a result, that's the effort that you're trying to coach to. But he also had some willing participants out there that wanted to play just as hard as him. It becomes a shark feeding frenzy. When you're working as hard as you can work, and your teammates see him working so hard, they want to raise their level of intensity and their level of play to that same level. And all of a sudden, you've got a great defensive football team and a great season. So it all starts with the locker room, and it continues from that point on. So those are the benefits.
Fantastic stuff. Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to take a short break here. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation with former Washington Husky defensive line coach Randy Hart, get some more pearls of wisdom, and also have him tell a couple more great stories. You're listening to Real Dog Radio.
Hey dog fans, Ruth here from RealDog.com, and I'm here today to tell you that we want you. We want you to be part of our community on Real Dog, interacting with other diehard dog fans on our message boards. We want you to get the best recruiting information out there, and RealDog.com has broken more recruiting scoops in the last 16 years than any other media publication out there, and that's a fact. We want to give you great game week articles, video blogs, practice reports, and of course editorial and analysis. And don't forget about game day. That's where we really shine, covering your dogs and bringing you all things Husky. Right now, if you sign up, you can buy 1 month and get 1 month free. If you decide you want a VIP annual membership, you'll get a whole bunch of stuff, including 20% off all Husky gear on our site, a free subscription to Sportsline, and you can browse with no ads. How cool is that? So right now, we want you. Join RealDog.com today. We're part of the 247 Sports, CBSSports.com network, and we're proud to bring you all things Husky. Go Dogs!
Welcome back to Real Dog Radio. I'm Tyson Allenbaugh. With me is former Washington Husky defensive line coach. I have to admit, I got the pleasure of shaking his hand at the spring preview. Got a chance to finally meet him and take some pictures with him and the trophies. Randy, I'm digressing a little bit here, but how fun was that spring preview to interact with the fans, see sort of the excitement around the program that, admittedly, I'm only 28, that I hadn't seen maybe since the days of Marcus Tuiasisopo.
Well, it's great. Obviously, when you're an old guy and you get to watch a lot of youngsters having a lot of fun, it's fantastic. And, of course, it was great being in the Dempsey, pre-scrimmage and whatnot, seeing all the fans and whatnot, and, the fans that were there. The enthusiasm is going in the right direction, and there's no reason to think that it's not going to continue. So it's a pretty exciting time right now in Husky football, and certainly for the old guy hanging out, it's a lot of fun because, again, so many of the great memories we've had in life, have been in this stadium and in this program. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we went in a time machine back to 1991. Let's go back a little bit further, back to your Ohio State days. You played under Coach Woody Hayes, and for those of a certain generation, he who don't know, just Google him. Anybody under 30 years old, just Google Woody Hayes, and I'll tell you all you need to know. Coach, you played under him. You got your coaching start under him. You coached under Don James. You coached under David Shaw. A number of great head coaches and other, great defensive coordinators. Talk about their impact on you and how they've helped you become a better coach, better man, whatever it may be. And then, I guess just divulge that. Talk about your experiences working with all of them.
Well, the great thing about it is they're all good people. I've never worked on a bad staff. I had a tremendously fortunate career where I got to work at a lot of fun places, and I can tell you, honestly, I've never worked with a bad coach or a bad staff. I'm not a good person staff. We all have different coaching abilities, of which, I was way short of the best I was with, I guarantee you. But the fun to see it, the head coaches, they set the tempo, and so many of them were very smart. 4 of them were Hall of Fame guys, our college Hall of Fame guys right now. Coach James, being from Ohio, he did coach at Michigan as well. So the Midwest way of you could go to any of the practices, whether you're at Michigan's practice with when Don James was an assistant there versus when Bo Schembechler, who was an assistant at Ohio State, played for Coach Hayes at Miami of Ohio. When he plugged in, then Gary Moeller, the defensive coordinator and the eventual head coach at Michigan, was a Buckeye offensive linebacker, or the offensive lineman and defensive linebacker. So the similarities of the programs, you could pretty much go place to place and know at 7:30 in the morning you were going to be in staff meeting, and you'd know, right after calisthenics you were going to go into a warm-up activation, as they call it now. You were going to go into some form of individual. Individual was going to work into group, and group was going to work into team. So you could find your way around not only in the meetings and in the staff organization of most of those guys, but you also find your way around the football field as well. So I was very fortunate to learn something from everybody that I've coached with. And, and obviously I go to Husky practices now, and I'm still learning. There's still so much to know out there that it's really fun to watch the younger guys, Coach Peterson, implement a whole lot of his ideas, which are really cool. I wish I had them. I wish I was still coaching, because I've seen so much good coaching, being able to watch other guys coach that there's a lot of good things going on in coaching, certainly.
Wow, there's a lot there. So I'm gonna take a step back. You mentioned the Midwest sort of being the similarities. Coach Nick Saban has talked about in one of his last conversations with Coach James before he passed away, that it was a Monday, and he was talking about how James had helped form what he does at Alabama, where he's done at LSU, and so on and so forth. And he asked Coach James, what day is it, Coach? And Coach said Monday, and he's like, what we're doing, right? Progressives. And I don't know what progressives mean. I imagine they're sprints. Can you just divulge it, maybe put that into context for us? What are progressives, and what is Coach Saban and Coach James? What are those exactly?
Well, just over and back on the field. It's a progression drill. Maybe 5 and back, 10 and back, 15 and back, and then these other aspects of it you can plug in as you go. So, but it's a Monday activity to get a sweat up and change direction a little bit, and help the body recoup a little bit from Saturday's game, get you back into the thinking of just we got a new week coming and get ready for Tuesday and Wednesday's practice.
So that Midwest influence has made it way down south. I bet as a native Ohioan, you like that.
Oh, of course. And it was fun. If you remember the couple of championship games a few years ago, it was when Nick and Urban played. Nick Urban was from Ashtabula, Ohio, and he was one of our graduate assistants at Ohio State. So as a result, to have him being successful, that was exciting. And of course, Nick, being the guy he is, he played for Coach James and worked with Coach Bruce at Ohio State before he got his first head coaching job. So again, the organization is amazingly the same, but good football coaches are from all over the country. But it's fun to at least know a little bit about a few of them that were back there, and certainly they set the tempo, which of course included the Harbaugh family as well. Jim was born in Toledo, Ohio, and the Michigan influence of knowing how the Woody Hayes way of doing things was, he kind of grew into that same way of thinking as well, as his dad coached at Michigan and has coached at several of those places back there as well. So Jack and Jim and John Harbaugh also have a little bit of the tree involved there. So they do things the way they like to do them too, and everybody does it different. But it's just a basic philosophy of fundamentals first, okay, which is a big part of what the Huskies are doing right now. Get as good as you can get at blocking, tackling, pursuit angles, eliminating the big play, and working from there. So it's just being sound. No need to be flashy, but be sound in what you do and work hard and do it as best you can. And normally you got a good football team.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned this team and this program in its current state. Fairly or unfairly, Coach Chris Peterson gets compared or will be compared to Coach Sean James. And you mentioned you've been at practices, and we'll get to the team and what you think of them shortly. But as far as approaches go, how are Coach Peterson and Coach James, or maybe some other great coaches you worked with, similar, and how are they different?
You know what? They're similar in that they do focus on the basics and the fundamentals. The people don't realize it, but there's really a successful coaching tree out of UC Davis. Coach Peterson comes from a great program as well, where the guys did a lot of experimentation and worked out. If you research the West Coast offense, I think by Coach Walsh, I think the Davis guys were working it. As he was developing it. As a result, I mean, they there's great coaches across the country, which is really cool. But again, they have that same basic understanding of coach the basics first, but coach fundamentals first. Make sure we understand how to block and tackle, and then throw a little bit of effort into it. And, get the right guys, get the OKGs, as Coach Pete would say. And pretty soon you've got a good football team. And again, don't try and trick them. You can't trick them, and it's just not going to work that way. There's no short answers or shortcuts to playing great football. It's usually hard work and again, having a locker room that will respond to the trainer, the head coach involved. So as a result, it all starts at the top, but certainly the way it's approached is basics first and then work from there.
Well, I think we all, as fans, with our untrained eyes, tend to agree. It seems to be what they're doing down on Montlake. As far as the current players go, you mentioned, like I said, you've been at practice. Who are some of the guys that you're excited to see, or that that you saw last year, this year, that you're really excited about, and who stand out to you? Specifically, one name I want to just toss up there is Vita Vea. Maybe your thoughts on him, and have you ever seen a guy that big, that strong, move that fast?
You know what? There have been a couple, okay, and that's why it's fun to compare him, and that's why it's going to be really, a treat to watch him continue to improve as he wants to do. He's a better football player now than he was during the season, and I think that playing to the effect that he's supposed to be better, he's bought in and he's working hard. It seems like to me, Kaika and Coach Pete, Coach Kwiatkowski would have to tell you for sure. But again, these guys like to be good, and they are good. To have 320-pound guys you can put up there in the defensive line is tough. Is tough on an offense now. I guarantee you, which is exciting. And because of that, I said, hey, shoot, Kaika, if you want to take a couple of days off, I'd gladly step in for a few days. They were my kind of guys. I'll tell you what, I'd love to chew on them a little bit and see if we couldn't get them to go hard and play good like they're doing right now. But I got a feeling they're in good hands right now, so I'm not going to ever get involved. Believe me.
Well, I mean, some other names I just, like I said, you just give us some quick thoughts on is Azim Victor. I'm going to stay on the defensive side of the ball, unless you want to talk offense, but I know you're a D-line guy. Azim Victor and Keyshawn Bierria is for the heart and soul of the defense from the linebacker position. What are your thoughts on those two guys?
Sure. Well, to be good, you've got to have a good defensive front to have two good inside linebackers. They've got outside linebackers as well, so it's all good. And then you've got to have two safeties to control. You got to control the inside of the field, inside of the formation. And, when you look at their personnel and who they've got, who's coming back, I mean, by goodness, you got to be excited about what's coming back on the defensive field. And they're going to be strong up the middle. Your front seven is going to be very effective. They're going to have to break some corners in and get them going, certainly, but they can do it. Jimmy can coach, and there's good personnel there. So as a result, the name of the game right now is don't ever rebuild, reload, and that's got to be the challenge in the secondary right now, because they certainly had two corners that were just outstanding last year. So again, those guys are gone, a new football team right now, and the challenge is to reload, not rebuild. So let's get them going and see what we can do in the summertime.
All right, I got two more questions for you. I promise they'll be quick. If you're facing the Husky offense as a defensive coordinator right now, what do you do to stop Jake Browning, Myles Gaskin, Lavon Coleman, Dante Pettis? They have so many weapons. As a defensive coach, you're in you're game planning on Sunday for next Saturday. What are you trying to do to stop the Washington Huskies?
Well, first off, you wonder who scheduled them. Okay, that's the biggest thing is who scheduled these rascals. and the last team that I coached for, you saw what happened last year to them. So I got no answers. You're asking the wrong guy. I wouldn't. Right now, you better get ready to play and do the best you can do, and doggone it. And I guess you hope they have a bad day, but again, that's
the delayed handoff.
You know that
Gaskin,
everybody's looking that
twice,
Husky offense knows.
and space.
They're going to get everybody's
inside the 10.
The idea of them sneaking up on somebody, or the idea that they don't know about Jake Browning, they don't know about the running backs and everything else, and all the other guys coming at them. It's going to be a different show because the people are going to be well prepared. They will be people's summer projects. Right now, as spring practice ends, there'll be 12 opponents studying the Huskies right now. So when you establish yourself as the champion, you better realize that there's no more sneaking in the stadium and winning. It's going to be preparation personified when you play your entire schedule. So, and that certainly motivates the champion as well. One of the most proud things you can have with that bunch in 91, 92, 93 was going back to back Rose Bowls, which was phenomenal. It doesn't happen because of the preparation of the teams you're playing. So I think Coach Pete's got a great start to where they're going, but to automatically assume that we're going to just go in there and win games next year, that's not going to happen without some cooperation certainly by the other teams, but by us playing as good as we can possibly play, and that offense being improved, okay, and one step better than the defenses are playing. So it's going to be an exciting season. It's going to be an exciting season, and certainly one we're all going to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last one, and this I'm putting the proverbial gun to your head. So many amazing experiences in your career, games you coached in, held number 1 Oregon to 14 total points. There was All I Saw Was Purple, the Rose Bowl national championship, the 92 Rose Bowl, winning the 91 national championship, the whammy in Miami, the loudest game ever recorded against Nebraska. I'm sure I'm missing many amazing moments. Do you have a favorite game that you've coached in? Like I said, I'm making you pick one if you can.
Yeah, I don't. It's like picking a favorite player. I don't. That's the thrill of being in enough fun ones and coaching enough great kids. And sometimes not even the most fun guys to coach aren't even the guys that you read about. I mean, it's been a great run. You have to go back to the All I Saw Was Purple though, because that was the beginning. That was some great games in the beginning. But beating back in Columbus, beating a few teams back there was a lot of fun. Certainly the Michigan. Anytime you beat Michigan, if you're from Ohio, and that's a fun thing. That goes right down there. But it's again, for the Huskies, it was no doubt probably the Rose Bowl against Michigan, or possibly the Purple. That was exciting. So it's all been good. Again, no one could be any more lucky than little Randy here. So we're very, very blessed and very, very fortunate to have had the fun we've had, and now it's time to watch everybody else have fun, which is great.
Fantastic. And I guess this is one more question. What are you up to these days now that you're out of football? How do you keep busy, I guess?
Well, right now I might be one of the best babysitters, okay, in King County. Okay, my goal is to maybe get to the state of Washington, maybe then west of the Mississippi, then All-American. Okay, but right now I'm struggling. I'm just coming along a little bit. But the 4 grandkids are taking as much of my time as I can possibly give them, certainly within their parents. I'm afraid the parents might be a little concerned about Grandpa's influence on them. So I'm not sure that their parents are always in full happiness that I'm with them. But we've had a great time so far, and my wife and I, Linda, of course, we've had a great time being with the kids and doing things that sometimes with football coaching doesn't always let you have the time to enjoy your family. So we're enjoying our family, enjoying the community. Well, stopping by practice and having fun, having a good time right now.
That's amazing. So glad that you could join us tonight, Coach. We really appreciate your time. Of course, that's the only Randy Hart, former Washington Husky defensive line coach. I read his biography at the beginning, but if I did that now, it would take too long. He's done many amazing things, been a part of many amazing football teams. We thank him very much for his time. That wraps us up on Real Dog Radio. For RealDog.com's publisher, Ruth Robbins, my co-host and executive producer, Mike Martin, our studio engineer, Ken Norris. I'm Tyson Allenbaugh. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next week for more recruiting and off-season analysis. Until then, be sure to check out RealDog.com for all your recruiting updates and news and analysis. Go Dogs.